from millions of courageous conservatives rising up to reignite the promise of America. I'm here today asking for your support.
You got it.
I'm here today asking for your help, because the way we're going to turn this country around is going to be every woman and man in this room reaching out to your friends, to your loved ones, to your neighbors, to your co-workers, and saying there is a better way.
Right. Amen.
The book of Ecclesiastes tells us there's nothing new under the sun. I think today is very, very much like the late 1970s. I think the parallels between Barack Obama and Jimmy Carter are uncanny. In fact, the one person in America thrilled with the job Barack Obama is doing is Jimmy Carter.
Harry Reid.
Who? That would be the former senator from Nevada?
Yeah.
And we remember what happened in 1980. 1980, millions of men and women just like the men and women in this room, many of them exactly the men and women in this room, rose up and said what we're doing isn't working. There is a better way, and it came not from Washington but from the American people. It became the Reagan Revolution.
Yes.
And it turned this country around. The simplest and best word of encouragement I can give to you is the same thing is happening today.
Right.
All over this country, I'll give you a simple illustration. When we launched the campaign on Monday, we had 1 week left in this reporting quarter. And we set a goal in our campaign. We wanted to try to raise $1 million in a week. Well, I'm sorry to tell you we did not hit that goal.
$2 million.
We ended up raising $1 million in the very first day. And 3 days into it, we crossed the $2 million. 95% of our donations have been $250 or less. Look, the Washington special interests, they're going to have their candidates. By the way, if you see a candidate who is embraced by Washington, run and hide. But our strength is something very different. And I want to close with just telling this story, then we're going to take a few minutes of questions. But I want to tell a story from when I was running for Senate in Texas. And in Texas, just like in this race, all the money, all the institutional voices in the Republican Party were against us. Nobody thought we had a prayer. And in fact, you would read in the paper every day, there's no way on earth Cruz can get elected to the Senate. It's impossible. You guys are numbskulls for even imagining this is possible. We had an event we were doing down in the Rio Grande Valley in South Texas. Now, it's a very Democratic party of the state, very socioeconomically depressed part of the state, about 80% Hispanic, right on the river. We had a gathering on one Saturday night, about 300 people that were there. And the chairman of the county Republican Party, he stood up and said, you know, most Republicans, when they come down to the Rio Grande Valley, they go to the country club and they do a $1,000 a plate fundraiser. And he said, Ted is different. He said, this is not a fundraiser. He said, Ted is here to listen to you, to hear your concerns, to have a conversation. Now I got up, I said, Javier, thank you for the great warm welcome. Thank you everyone for taking the time to be here. I got to disagree with one thing you said. You said this is not a fundraiser. Everything we do is a fundraiser. I said, look, if you have the capacity to max out, God love you, we need the money, I promise you we will spend it to good purposes, carrying a message of freedom in the Constitution to the people of this state. But if you can't max out, everyone here can give $25 or $50 or $100. And I'll tell you, part of the reason that matters so much is when you give 25 or 50 or $100, you got skin in the game. Suddenly you're invested. You're going to show up and vote. You're going to talk to your friends and neighbors. It becomes your fight. That is the only way we can win. And so one thing I would encourage each of you, just as I did down in the Rio Grande Valley, I would encourage every one of you to go to tedcruz.org. Sign up to volunteer. Talk with our team. Ethan and David, both wave your hands and introduce yourself. So Ethan is here in New Hampshire. He's here full-time on our team, and his job is organizing and helping bring together a grassroots army across the state. And David is based down in Houston at the campaign headquarters and is focused very much on New Hampshire as well. We need your help. I would encourage you to come sign on, but I would also encourage every one of you, go to tedcruz.org and contribute whatever you're able for the very same reason. We need the resources, but even better, we need the skin in the game. Because it's going to have to come from the people, just like it did in 1980. I am convinced 2016 is going to be an election like 1980.
Yeah.